welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, on our Insights segment, a chat with SME Corner. On Bright Sparks tonight, we're featuring Simpton Toffees and Carbon X-Prize. Now, we recognize that it's not easy being an MSME today, so we're featuring an expert in the financing space to help you, the MSME entrepreneur, access funds faster and easier. I got talking with the founder and CEO of SME Corner to discuss what MSME should keep in mind when it comes to fundraising. Take a look. Thank you so much for coming here on the Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. Samir, let's start this conversation off, and we love to ask the entrepreneurs who come on the show to just talk about what the journey has been like.
So most of my work assignments have always been entrepreneurial in some form. So I have that in me, and I've always enjoyed doing it. One of the things I've observed over my banking career is the fact that small, medium and small businesses always struggle to get finance. Yeah. Today they form a pretty large piece of our economic environment, but only 5% of the small businesses actually have access to formal finance. So when I decided to turn entrepreneur, I said, what better than to look at this opportunity, both from trying to create something which is unique, which can benefit the economy, as well as it being a great opportunity for me to kind of set up something profitable and sustaining. And hence was born the idea of SME Corner, a platform where small businesses can come online, apply for a loan, find the right match, find the right bank who can lend to them. And we would help them in the process of doing that, and of course entirely digitally. So it's been a very exciting journey, and it's been really nice.
Let's talk about something that you've sort of mentioned in your previous answer, and that is helping MSMEs connect with banks.
Yes.
And that sort of brings to mind the whole question of financial literacy, or being aware really of what are the options for MSMEs, because we have a call-in show here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and most MSMEs who get in touch with us say, one, we've reached out to the banks and we're unable to get the loan, and two, we don't know whom to approach for funds. So how can these issues really be addressed?
So sadly enough, what you said is a real large issue, that of there being a lack of enough information or transparency in terms of what is actually available out there. It's changing now. Most banks have good websites, and on the websites their schemes and their offerings are fairly well set out. So that is changing. With digitalization, that is one of the benefits, that if a small business actually takes the trouble of going across multiple banks and seeing their websites and reading the schemes, it's possible to kind of understand what's happening there.
Even as the government is talking about Digital India, the central government of course has been talking about financial inclusion. Do you think we're at the right time when most businesses are going digital and therefore primed to really take advantage of the digital push?
So there are three big enablers to this, right? One is the Aadhaar, where you have more than 1 billion people. The second is the Jan Dhan accounts. You have 190 million accounts already open, and you have with almost 20 crore smartphones. You combine these three things together, it makes the process of taking a loan really simple. Online, you need an Aadhaar authentication, and most of the job is done on the KYC. So it's really changing. I personally have seen this whole space change in the last 2 years.
Okay, so while you say your experience has been that a lot of MSMEs have adopted and are adapting to technology, what are the top 2 or 3 things that you would advise our viewers that they should put in place if they are to become more digitally savvy, especially as far as financial or banking systems are concerned?
So let me talk about 2 big things that always I see as being an issue with small businesses being able to get money. One is the state of financials. Most financials we see are not really healthy, and not necessarily because the businesses are not doing well. The accounts do not reflect a healthy state of business despite the businesses actually doing well. So one of the things I would strongly advise small businesses to do is to actually let the accounts reflect the true and fair picture, and if the business is doing well, let the accounts show that, because as a banker or as a lender, we would look at that and we would actually use that to determine their ability to repay. So, the days of actually trying to hide profitability and, trying to show lower profitability, manage taxes needs to change.
And
because
will change, I'm assuming,
and
with GST.
will change with GST, and will change with, I think it's also a big generational shift within the small businesses where the new generation is coming in. And I personally have seen the new generation to be a lot more transparent in terms of kind of wanting to grow the business differently and do things differently. So one is actually the accounts by themselves. Okay, the second is keeping all documentation required for loans in a proper place, easily accessible. I've seen MSMEs struggle to give, you know, if you ask them for a VAT report or an approval or some kind of, you know, document that they needed, they take few days to give that document. So, you know, keeping all that in order is very important.
Let's talk about demonetization.
Sure.
Top of mind for everyone. How has that impacted, if at all, this business?
So, in the short run, small businesses have been impacted because of the lack of liquidity, cash liquidity, because a large number of businesses did have cash as a major source, either for buying raw material or their customers used to pay them cash. So yes, we've seen that in the last couple of months, small businesses have had a dip in their revenues, in their, but as we see things going, a lot of them have started adapting to digital forms of payments. So I think this is ending now, and in the next 2-3 months it should be back and get streamlined, and with GST coming in it should get more streamlined. So I think it's a temporary pain most Indians today have actually happily embraced and are willing to go with, but I don't think it's a long-term impact. I think it was just a short-term impact, the currency liquidity issue.
Okay, so when we're talking about fintech, there are two parts to it, of course. So we've been talking extensively about the finance part of it, but there's also the technology part of it.
Yes.
And a lot of the MSMEs that we talk to are still in very traditional industries like manufacturing, and they say that adapting or understanding the technology then is also taking time.
Yes.
And it's a mindset change as well. Is there anything that you can advise our viewers about how they can make that conversion?
So I think a few things. I think one is on the marketing front and trying to acquire new customers, creating a good website and kind of getting yourself out there, because most people today, when they want to know about you, go online and look for you. And strong advice to most small businesses is to actually engage a small firm. It doesn't take much to actually set up just a nice informational website, even if it's not a transactional website, a nice informational website which talks about your business and what you do, because your customers find you, you know, that way. Of course, internet is a large, big source for acquiring customers if you are in, you know, in an industry where that is feasible and where that can be done. The other thing I have noticed in most places is that there is no real technology person being hired by a small. There is technology in manufacturing, of course, but beyond manufacturing, there is no technology person who looks after other aspects of technology for the company. So there's lots of resources, lots of talent available, and that's another suggestion I would give, is to actually hire somebody who is looking at the non-manufacturing technology, somebody who can work with your marketing team, somebody who can work with sales, accounts, who can automate a lot of the stuff that is happening there. And the promoter doesn't personally need to know all of this. I mean, they are very adept at running very strong businesses. They have good business sense. They can focus on that, but get good management who can actually look after some of this, because there is no escaping that. I mean, you cannot run a company anymore where you're bereft of technology.
Okay. As we end this conversation, one final question that I want to ask you. In your line of work, what are some of the common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs, MSMEs, SMEs making when they're using a platform like yours, when they're trying to raise finance? And therefore, you know, what would your advice be about how to avoid those common mistakes?
So one of the things we've seen why small businesses don't get money is, of course, like I said, accounts not being good, right? The second is personal credit histories not being in order. Most entrepreneurs or owners of businesses need to understand that when a lender lends them money, they not only look at your bank's finances, they also look at your personal finances. So keeping personal finances in order, repaying all of your loan installments on time personally, not being over leveraged, keeping that in order goes a long way, because a personal credit score, a good personal credit score, is actually a ticket to getting a good business loan as well. And anything going wrong there can actually badly impact you know, this the ability to raise money.
All right. Thanks so much, Sameer, for coming down.
Welcome.
It was very
it was
informational.
A pleasure. Yes, thank you.
And look forward to chatting with you again on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time for a break. On the other side, we'll feature Simpton Toffees and Carbon X Price. Welcome back. You're with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're featuring Simpton Toffees and Carbon Express. Toffees, seemingly available at every street corner in the country, are an intricate part of Indian childhood. But few toffee makers that have embraced a modern approach to the manufacturing process in the way that Mumbai-based Simpton Toffees and Sweets has. Pooja Jain met with the management team of the family-owned business to understand the strategy to structuring a toffee enterprise. Take a look.
Taking Indian-flavoured toffees to international turf is Simpton Toffees and Sweets. Prioritizing production throughput while preserving the authentic taste of the toffee has enabled the company to make its products universally available at the staggering ₹1 price point. We set foot on the Simpton factory floor to sample the company's success story firsthand.
A lot's been said about how Simpton attempts to preserve the Indian palate with its eclectic range of toffees. Tell us more about this unique approach and the history behind it.
When I was small, my grandma used to make lot of traditional sweets, which we enjoyed a lot. So we came with an idea to come with the traditional toffees, the taste of the traditional sweet in a traditional toffee in an affordable price. So what we have enjoyed, what I have enjoyed in my childhood, they can enjoy it at every corner of the country. So we came with the idea of pure coconut toffee, pure cardamom toffee and pure peanut toffee. All the products are very natural.
Now, high nutritional content is typically not a phrase that one associates with toffees. That said, how does Simpton dare to be different in that regard?
All the products we focused, and there is a mission over there, all the products are fully nutrition products. It's good for their health as well as it is an energy booster. The peanuts are rich source of protein. The cardamom is also a mouth freshener, and the coconut, which is used in the food, daily food, as it is good in digestion.
Now, quality checks are a challenge for any company in the FMCG space. How do you prioritize the practice internally?
See, being in a food line, quality assurance is must. When the raw materials arrive to our factory place, it first goes to the laboratory. If it is perfectly done and the quality is okay, then it goes to the production. After the production is done, there are three parts of the production. First is the cooking, that we call as a kitchen, then it is a wrapping area, and then when the final packaging is done in a jar or a pouch, and then in a master carton. Also the physical check is also done by the taste, by the visual, by the weighing of the products. So we assure when the product delivers outside our gate, it is double checked so the consumer can have a assured product because they trust the Simpton brand. So we also have to keep that trust alive.
Simpton toffees are seemingly everywhere, from the country's most urban areas to the most rural. Explain your distribution network to us and your approach towards building it.
India is such a big market, but building a distribution channel in India, a country like India, is a difficult task for every FMCG company. And having a product for ₹1, it is a very less cushion. And when we go down to the district level, we have a strategy of taluka levels. Each and every taluka, we have a distributors, and that taluka distributor goes to the villages inside the taluka, and there are two major role players who are called as a sitting wholesaler and the running wholesaler. They take our product and also support us from shop to shop to cater the Indian masses. Then we have got huge range of products to cover the pan shop, the medical shop, as well as the dry fruit shop or a bakery shop. The USP is basically having a huge range in a single product, a small pack, a big pack, a medium pack, a small jar, a big jar. So that gives us the specialty to reach on each and every counter and each and every lane or shop of the country.
So at ₹1 a piece, Simpton toffees are amongst life's most affordable guilty pleasures. That said, how do you envision growing the brand in the future?
At present, we are having a placement of our product in approximately 40% of the country. These are all our proven products. So first we are looking that 60% which is left by should be covered in the coming 2 to 3 years, and side by side our research and development is going on, R&D is going on. You know, meetha pan, pan is consumed on a very high basis and is liked by everyone. Why not to come with a pan in a taste of a toffee? So we did a huge R&D and that came into a product called No Spit. It has a nutrition value, also connects with the Swachh Bharat. No Spit, pan khao bina thuke. In the future, Simpton will be seen and consumed in the daily basis. That's our future mission.
With an annual production capacity exceeding 2,200 tons and a robust, deep-rooted distribution network, Simpton Toffees is seizing market share without cutting corners on quantity or quality. By offering India's most cherished flavors in the form of a bite-sized toffee that doesn't pinch the pocket, it's fair to say that the company has found its sweet spot.
While Donald Trump may not think that climate change is a serious issue, most others disagree. The biggest culprit to this major environmental concern are carbon dioxide emissions. Encouraging bright young minds across the globe to solve this challenge is the NRG COSIA Carbon X Prize. Shubhangi Sinha has the story.
Decreasing sea ice, increasing temperatures, rising sea levels, and an ever upward graph of carbon dioxide concentration. All thanks to climate change, one of the biggest challenges that the world faces today. US-based X Prize Foundation operates the $20 million NRG COSIA X Prize to bring about innovation on new technologies by converting carbon dioxide emissions for electricity generation and oil and gas production into valuable and usable products. What makes this award even more special this year is that a team from India, Team Breathe, has made it to the shortlist of 27 global teams in contention for the global prize.
Congratulations on making it to the semi-finals of the Carbon X Prize. For the benefit of our viewers, could you please talk to us about what your project is and how you're being able to utilize carbon dioxide?
See, we have named our team Breathe. So what we essentially are trying to do is to convert carbon dioxide from various sources, which are partly the reason why there's climate change, and we want to convert them into something useful, and the useful being something which is commercially valuable as well. So for somebody who wants to think what the project is about, you can just think about photosynthesis, and this is what we essentially do. We're trying to mimic.
Now you work with Airbus as a full-time employee. How are you able to innovate at such a large scale with professors and collaborate with them?
I was just browsing through the internet and I came across this X Prize Foundation. I knew about it, and when I was going through their content, I saw that they have floated this new competition, the NRG COSIA Carbon X Prize. I also had a bit of an interest in biomimicry, so I thought this sort of resonated with my ideas.
How important do you think it is for large companies to encourage incubators? Is it necessary for these employees to be able to innovate at such a large scale?
It is important. Incubators have become the current instruments for, rather I would say, inclusive instruments for getting startups on a common platform and exchange ideas. So I think it is sort of apparent that the number of startups are growing rapidly, and with this being the culture and for everybody to stay relevant, the startups and the corporates, I think incubators is a good mutually beneficial scheme and to benefit from each other's ideas, and especially for startups this can be used as a springboard.
In your case, you've been able to innovate while being on a company role. There are many other companies who encourage their employees to innovate outside the company. Which model do you think works better?
See, I wouldn't necessarily see these two options as either or. I see this as and also. The reason I'm saying it is many parameters operate behind the options that you give, and it's hard to say whether this would work or that would work, and one would also have to see in the context of a company's strategy. The innovations that one desires to do should tie into the corporate's ambition.
So how are you able to manage innovation as well as a corporate job? That could be quite a handful. Do you have any tips for our viewers to manage innovation and a hectic corporate job?
It's been difficult. It was difficult initially, not just for me, even for Sebastian and Umesh. They've also had their day jobs to do. So essentially we had to work, loosely speaking, 2 shifts a day initially. Things are sort of getting clarity now. Things are beginning to hang together. But the amount of effort needed is just going up rapidly. One thing that at least now I am beginning to realize is if you can distribute responsibilities amongst your team members, that would only mean that you have one thing to tackle at a time.
With the semi-final round slated to end in August 2017 and a $20 million prize as the final incentive, climate change is set to be the new buzzword, irrespective of what the POTUS may think.
That's our episode tonight. We've brought you tips on accessing finance. Do remember that if this episode has helped you or you have any feedback for us, you can write in to us at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. You can personally tweet at me at Sunanda_J. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT or call us on that number you see on your screens. We promise to have all your questions answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.